started explaining that
Your perception of the relationship probably changed a little bit, though, right? With that.
Oh no, it changed, but not because she had sex with someone, but it changed because of the way she was dealing with it, right? And so what I'm trying to say, and I'm being not articulate, is that her relating the thing became the problem, right? Versus her just doing it. Not that she shouldn't have related it, but
if it was just uncovered later, you might be able to be.
It's a delicate type of conversation that it's not like it can backfire even in my direction. In that case, backfire in my direction, because at some point I was like, then I started saying, okay, well, are we? I asked her, I guess I asked her, do you think we are, you want to be long term with me or not, right? I just wanted to clarify that, and she was like, I don't know, and I'm like, okay, do you think we want to hang out next week? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, girl, I don't think we are seeing each other anymore, right? Like, so,
yeah. Well, so the point,
yeah.
I think a takeaway from that is how I would take that, and maybe how you did is maybe she's not really into that with me. Like she's not trying to have a long-term relationship with me.
No, I am making a much easier. I mean, yes, that's what I
But
was.
I'm saying a different
No,
point
yes.
about
So
that is the
that's what.
perception of that amount of just offering it up is like, if she's just saying this to me this up front, I'm gonna think she's probably not that into me.
Well, I wasn't thinking that, but I was checking that, right? I tried to check that with her, right? And then she was extremely wishy-washy. My guess is that if she had dealt with that without even relating to me, I would not, like, that could have been resolved on its own.
But you would understand, like, okay, if someone's like, I'm crazy about this person, let me go ahead and mention this person I hooked up with last night. They probably wouldn't just randomly offer it up if they were actually crazy about someone. They realized what's at stake.
Also, because, let me clarify, this is a very weird situation, and I'm sorry about that, but also because her explanation of having sex with this guy was that because she had some type of trauma, right? I think she was she was divorced, and I think her husband was bipolar, or she abused her. But anyway, there was an element of abuse or trauma right there. She basically will have sex with anybody who's nice to her. That's the way she put it. Now, I don't know, that sounds extreme to me, but that's how she put it. Okay. Now, which I was ready to accept, because but then, no, I mean, I was ready to accept to some extent, of course, right? But
okay.
No, but then I just wanted to check, though. Okay, but that said, let me just check. Do you still? Because we told each other I love you, right? So I mean, that sounded pretty serious. So are we right? And that led to me probing that, and her kind of like starting to flail and to say, I don't know, which I don't know if she meant it that she didn't know, or she just felt pushed and pressured, right? And that's what I'm trying to say now, right? So that conversation led to a conversation where I think her, in this case, didn't even know exactly how she felt, and probably would have been better not to have the conversation at that point.
If she still wanted to see where things went with you.
Yeah, because that's my perception, that she did want to be serious. But in that conversation, she started saying, I don't know. Okay, I understand this is an extreme case, but
I would appreciate the information, but I wouldn't assume that she would tell me if that were the case.
What do you mean?
I'm saying I would appreciate acquiring this information because I'd probably move on in that scenario, but I wouldn't assume she's going to offer that up if that's happening. Or if that even the I fuck anybody that's nice to me stuff, or the I slept with the guy if we hadn't had an exclusivity talk.
Well,
then
to
I would appreciate her saying the information, but I wouldn't expect that she would.
Well, to me, it's either, like, in that case, honestly, there was no advantage to me to know that, unless, of course, which I think it was the case, for it was a big thing for her. Like it's something that was kind of like bothering her, right? In a sense. So I think for her, probably, I don't know if it was in her interest, it's too complicated, but she probably wanted to do it because the thing was bothering her, right? But from my perspective, I would have much rather not have known that.
Right. Yeah, then you could
So you
have.
would have preferred to continue seeing someone who is super flaky about dating you long term
No, if
and
she,
not know
but
it?
1 second. So
Because you wouldn't have asked the question of like if she sees you being if you see each other
no, I get
being
what you're saying.
serious,
Yeah, I get
and
what you're saying.
she wouldn't have said, oh, I don't know, whatever. Like, I
Right,
feel
right.
like if she said that she wasn't sure that she wanted to see you next week, I mean, I think that tells you all that you need to know. And
But
Sure.
no, but see, okay, but my claim, and I know that I am asking you to sort of like trust my feeling here, and maybe you shouldn't, but my feeling is that um, the only reason she said I don't know is that because at that point I got a little frustrated and I was kind of like, uh, telling her, hey, dude, are you even, you know what I mean? Like I was
But
starting to
but
be like,
isn't okay,
wait, well, let me finish. But my perception is that if that conversation hadn't happened, she might not, because let me clarify, she had never ever been flaky before, ever. She was always available all the time, and me vice versa. So it was a complete, like, just night to day transition, and so I don't know if she actually meant to,
so it was
and if
more.
that in other words, I'm saying that the conversation might not have conveyed her real self, but it might have
Yeah.
been a conversation where she got pushed into saying certain things.
But it also sounded like, Mary Lou, correct me if I'm wrong, but you would have perceived that as her not wanting a relationship with him.
I mean, I would have perceived the fact that she said that she wasn't sure. Like, well, here's the thing. There's
Yeah,
a
that's fair.
difference between not being sure about wanting a long-term relationship with someone when you start seeing them and it's been, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 months, and saying, I'm not sure that I want to see you next week. That's two different things, in my
Yeah,
opinion. If you say,
I
I'm
hear
not
you.
sure, we've been dating for 2 months, I like you, but I'm not cool. I haven't quite made my mind up. We can keep seeing each other if you're comfortable with that and see if it leads somewhere. And, we can have another conversation, in X amount of time about it and see where it goes. And saying, what, like, it put on the spot like this, like I think I'm not really sure where this goes, so I'm not sure that I'm not sure if we should see each other next week. Like, I'm not sure. Like, to me, there's a difference between someone who's just unsure about their own feelings and still figuring it out, and someone
Yeah.
who's straight up going, there's a big gap in my mind between,
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm feeling you, but I'm not too sure if I'm ready to get, committed. And
Yeah.
saying,
But that
I'm not really
conversation's
sure
on
about the
accident there,
relationship.
right?
I'm not really sure about the relationship to the point where I'm not sure that I want to see you next week.
Right. No, I get what
Yeah.
you're saying, but if I think on, like, putting myself in her shoes, if I had been asked that, what if I perceive that what you're asking me is like, because I think that that's what actually was going on, that in fact, sorry, she explicitly said that the problem is that she didn't want to be pressured in a commitment. That's like she felt trapped when I asked those questions, basically, right? So that's why I'm saying that, in a sense, it's best not to even have the conversation. Now, I am exaggerating because, yeah, you're right. What if there had been anyway her true self, right, of like actually not want any to commit at all, like, and that, it's best to know it then than to know it after 4 months. There's no question about that, right? um but yeah, so I mean, I guess if the assumption is that, this type of conversation uh always, or in the vast majority of the cases, ends up in me getting a correct representation of your feelings and vice versa, or personality, or whatever it is, then yes, then I will full-heartedly approve. I do think that there's still a large amount of cases when that might not be the case, and um, and I think that the risk is not worth it. Now you're saying, well, that risk could make it easier for women because I feel pressured and so on. I think it's a valid thing to say. My practical perception is that that balance doesn't work out in that direction, but maybe you're right. I'll be honest.
I mean, I'm not gonna deny that there's a lot of like nuance. You know, human relationships are complicated and stuff, but I really do wish that it was a more common and like, because I know that it's not socially acceptable to do that, but I wish it was the norm, because I wish it really would make a difference in how, in the number of women that feel, um um misled or,
Mm-hmm.
taken advantage of
Mm-hmm.
in a way, because I feel like there's this culture that men feel like they will never be able to find a woman who wants to be casual, and that you can both just sleep with multiple people and it's going to be chill. And at the second that you're going to say that you sleep with multiple people, it's going to be off. Well, there's a lot of women out there who are okay with that.
Yeah.
You should just find one of these women instead of like just withdrawing information and to just be with this woman that you don't know. At the end you can assume whatever you want. You don't know if she is okay with that or not. And I
Yeah, but
think it would really contributing to breaking this pattern that is just one more burden on our shoulders that there is
okay,
already in the world.
okay. I Yes. Okay, so I think I might maybe understand where the thing that's disconnecting here, because what I'm looking at it from a perspective of a guy who hasn't figured out if that's what he wants with this girl yet.
Yes. Yes.
Like, if he has figured it out and it's like, I know I don't want a long-term relationship with her, then I think the right thing to do would be to talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm saying,
Think
like, if he's like on the fence, trying to see how it goes and
Yeah.
see if he wants something.
I think in both cases it should be upfront.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nah.
anyway.
For a second, I'm like, maybe Daniel learned
Nah.
something today, and then
Nah.
I'm like,
Nah.
nah.
No, I thought I figured it out. No.
And don't get me wrong. Like as I said, I think it should be a shared responsibility. But right now, it is extremely unbalanced, and woman is bearing the weight.
Yes.
Well, Maxos was bearing the weight in his story, but he just didn't ask. So
Well, okay. No, I mean, I get it. I understand.
Well, no, I mean, I don't disagree that the majority of that stuff probably usually falls on the woman, but it's
but
because where they're maybe wanting the relationship to go versus man on average, not just basically.
it really depends on, I think, what the intent is. I mean, because I mean, for me,
Yeah.
usually it's more often to me what I'm looking for is a relationship, right? It's not about fucking. Also, because I can fuck guys.
Well,
Uh,
I'm pretty much, yeah. I usually don't. I'm not definitely not going on like dates and hanging out with girls where there's not some like a possibility of it being more. Usually is
yeah,
probably not,
exactly. Yeah,
but it's like
exactly.
I don't want to just like slam the door on that either.
Yeah.
This is why I go back
Anyway,
to.
guys. No, but I mean, I think you're right. I mean, there is a culture of that and of sort of like sometimes intentional deception, and yeah, I mean, I it sucks. Like, I'm not gonna defend that at all. And so yeah.
I want to make a defense of my point of the more of me in this world, the better this world will be. Hiya!
Go fuck
Oh
yourself.
On
god.
this point, I definitely agree, Darnell. On this point,
Darnell is
this
anything
I
a lady
really
says versus a
respect that.
man. He's compromised. He's already stated his position about men.
Yeah.
No, but for real, I really respect Darnell's approaches to dating.
Yeah.
I find it very
Mature.
genuine.
I noticed though. I noticed
And,
he didn't
yeah.
say what we were talking. He didn't say that he says exactly what we were talking about. He said all this other shit that he divulges that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah, but what do you expect me to say? I don't actually hit on girls just to fuck them. So I don't use tactics to get laid.
I'm not saying I'm not saying tactics. I'm saying the information you're divulging, you didn't mention what we were talking about.
How many people have fucked
Which
and
is
all this kind of shit?
not how many. No. It just like straight up. If you're not sure about this girl, maybe you want a relationship.
Oh.
Say when you met Larry, like at the gym, right? And you go on a date. You probably didn't say before you fucked, like, hey, if you were seeing some people at that time, you probably weren't like, hey, by the way, I know you didn't ask, but I'm fucking a few different people right now. I got a rotation going. You didn't just mention that.
That is true because I wasn't doing it. So it wasn't
Okay,
necessary.
But if
let's say if I was seeing other people at the time and I found that she was the most interesting, I would let her know. Like, I'd be like, I'm seeing other people, but you're the most interesting, and I want to see where this goes with you.
Once you establish that, maybe once you establish that she is the most interesting, but let's say you haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, I'd still be like, I'm sleeping with other people.
Anyway,
like, I don't think you understand. Like, for me, it's like they need to know.
Do you guys want to wind down with my a dating story that is just unwinding right now? It is kind of awkward.
I definitely
all right.
All right.
So a couple of weeks ago, I got in touch with this lady, and she asked me to to have a chat on video chat, right? So we have the chat, and like it goes well at the beginning, and then I'm like a little bit like, oh, this is getting a little awkward, and it's kind of like, I'm moving the conversation along, she's not doing anything, and I'm like, okay. Anyway, so we hang up, and then a week later or something. And by the way, a week later, it's not because I was waiting, but I mean I was waiting on purpose because she was busy or something. And so I said, hey, let's want to go out this weekend or something. And then she no reply, and I'm like, okay, well, didn't like me. And so, like a loser, yesterday I sent her, or maybe this morning, I sent her a text saying, hey, I know you don't want to see me, but like if you could give me any feedback, right? That I would appreciate that, right? If not, it's all good.
But sorry, I need to object for a second here. But that's not a loser's behavior. You weren't.
No, Maxis was right. He was right. Go on, Max.
Yes, thank you. Thank you finally for some toxic person that I need to validate me. Thank you, Daniel. Anyway, so and now she's like, hi, I was really expecting. Okay, fair. I'm really sorry for not responding. My parents are visiting and I was booking. So now it's super awkward because, you know what I mean? She's like, oh yeah, no, it would be great to meet for a coffee.
Yeah,
and now it's awkward
again
because I'm kind of over.
Yeah, you submitted. You threw your arms down.
See, I set boundaries, and that backfired again.
you laid down your arms. Now, what would you say?
I haven't replied yet. She just texted me.
Yeah. Okay. What are you thinking?
Oh my goodness.
I see now. Okay, actually, this is a very good example of what we were discussing. Right now, I feel bad because.
So then, look. I'd just be like, look, I'm gonna give you what to say. You should just be like, oh, for some weird reason, I assumed you weren't interested, but I'm afraid it might be a little awkward, but I'm still down to see you. Something like that.
Yeah.
You
get
state.
That. Don't worry.
Okay.
I get it. Just easy. Okay.
Okay.
I'm saying the reason I feel bad is that I feel that if we do get to meet, I now have an implicit expectation that I am like, right, very interested at this point, and I'm like, I might get interested, but I am sure that if we get to meet, I'm not gonna be able to act, right away, super bubbly about it.
Yeah, so tell her it's gonna be a little awkward. Like,
no, you're gonna have to act super disinterested, dude. You gotta compensate for that shit.
Oh God! See, I don't see. That's the thing. I don't play those games, right? Like I'm not good at that. So
but that's That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Just state
I'm
the
not-
fact that it's going to be awkward, and that's not playing any games. That's you literally saying it's going to be a little awkward in the beginning. But
No,
you know,
no, I was
dude,
responding
he
to
asked
Daniel.
for feedback because.
Yeah. But that's what
Okay.
look,
No, well, you go.
we have different brains apparently, or different ways of
It's
seeing
okay.
shit.
I'm gonna
No.
end up meeting her up.
Look,
I just
no, definitely try.
yeah,
I'm not saying don't try. I'm
it's
just
fine.
saying he's starting from a very weak position right now.
Not weak, but just weird. I think.
Daniel.
No.
Daniel's like,
Yeah.
you always have to have the higher ground.
No, but here's why it's
No,
okay.
no,
Here's
no.
why it's weird, right? It's because like when I asked for the feedback, I wasn't trying to. It wasn't a Hail Mary, right? I wasn't trying to contact her again. It was literally because I wanted the feedback, right?
Yeah,
So
like what turned you off so much?
yeah, I mean literally, right? That's what I wanted to hear. But now I think she's well, maybe not interpreting, but whatever. I mean, she's coming up with no, let's do it. So.
But you
Yeah.
see, you were like open. I wanted some feedback to why, like, just that in itself is like, oh wow, she's probably thinking, oh wow, he isn't so
Okay, but that's
self-conscious.
also
Then.
why I got pissed before because like I really am open and I really like to be upfront. So it's I don't disagree at
Much
all.
to his detriment, clearly.
Yeah, much to my detriment. Also because honestly, it's less work. Like just being honest is just less work than like making up some weird story.
Agreed.
Well, you don't have to make up a weird story.
Okay.
But you don't ask for advice from the girl on how to
No,
get
okay, listen.
girls.
Okay. Let me offer up the other anecdote why I am saying it. I did that because a couple of weeks ago, actually like a month ago or so, I was seeing this girl who I did not like. After our phone call, I knew that we were not gonna work out as a couple, right? But I still wanted to meet her, like so we still met, and then I wanted to be friends with her, right? Because I really like to be around her, but at the same time, she clearly had some weird value that I really
I
was
do
not
feel
okay with,
as if
and also I
people have
didn't like her physically enough, right? So
Did you tell her she deserves the information?
hold on. So
Physically,
no,
she don't like it?
what happened is that we were both busy for a long time, like for 3 weeks in a row or something. So didn't reach out because I hate to text and just like it goes nowhere, right, and it gets awkward. So I then reached out when the weekend that I finally had time, and I said, "Hey, do you want to play board games again?" Right? And then she was like, "Who is this?" and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ouch."
Yeah.
Hold on.
You never want to hear who is this.
Yeah, that's hurtful. But anyway, and then I was like, yeah, I'm that guy, and I was wondering, and then I was like, yeah, I wanted to reach out like as a friend and like just because I like to be around you. So, and then instead of saying yes or no, she was like, okay, what didn't you see in me? Like she asked for feedback basically, right? Why I wasn't interested in her romantically, and I decided to be like exactly to tell her what I just told you guys, like both of those things, like exactly that way. And she appreciated. Then I asked back, right, for feedback, and she did give me useful feedback, I guess. And but then it got, and I appreciated that, but then it got awkward again because I was like, okay, so I'll drive to you tomorrow. And because I'm like, I really like to be around her, like she's very fun. And then she was like, how do you think that's gonna go? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea because like it might arouse jealousy with my future partner. And I'm like, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, that's so fucking weird. Okay,
No,
I agree.
I don't think
That
that's
But
that
I
was
weird.
respect it. I mean, I
I
respect
don't
it.
think that's that weird to say.
Really?
really.
Well, if they form a friendship and they met on a dating site, then her future partner, especially in early stages of the relationship, might feel like, wait, you're hanging out with this other guy you met on a dating site.
It's yeah. I don't really. I mean, I respect it if somebody feels like that. I don't really relate to that at all. But
You wouldn't be a little skeptical of their relationship if the basis was meeting on a dating site?
let's see. Has it happened to me?
Okay, hold on. Before you answer, what were you gonna say, Marilu?
I was just gonna say, like, I get where it's coming from. At the end of the day, depends on the partner and how much you value the friendship. Like, depends on how long you've been hanging out with her too. Like, if it's been for a couple of months, and you might have a decent friendship formed
Yeah.
that is worth keeping. But if it's been like 3 weeks, sometimes like it's not worth the hassle of like explaining to the next partner,
Well, also
blah blah blah.
both
Like
parties
it,
have
it
to
really
worry about.
depends, but yeah, I can see how like a partner would be uncomfortable with that. But at the end of the day, she makes choices for herself. Should
Yeah.
be always thinking like, well, with my next partner thing.
Mm.
But she can take that into consideration if she wants to. I mean, she does what she
Yeah.
wants with her life.
Well, well, both parties probably are also would be kind of wondering about ulterior motives, because a lot of people do this like fake friendship attempt, and I don't think that's obviously not what you're doing at all, but there is some weird angle that some dudes play where they try to friend their way in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, not that, I mean,
And
since
that's
she asked
cute.
like why didn't you like me, obviously that doesn't seem to add up there, but I could see that also where it's like, okay, and or she did kind of like you and thought, I don't know if I can really be
Right. So
friends with him.
yeah. So and it's fine. I mean, it's all right. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
the
No,
more
I'm just saying, as
yeah.
far as, yeah, that I'm not saying it bothered you much. I'm just saying
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that it could be.
But anyway, the main point was that since I got some useful feedback there, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm gonna be lucky again. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. And
Mm.
I don't like it.
Why? Why?
I don't
Daniel will
like it.
never learn.
This tactic is no good. You're shooting yourself in the foot.
But it's not like I was I was not interested at this point anymore, right? So it's not a tactic like
True. Okay, fair enough. But just don't ask any girl you're into.
No, of course not. I mean, well, duh. I mean, yeah.
I
Tell me how
swear.
to pick up girls. Can you tell me how to get girls to like me, please?
I
Oh
I feel
no.
like I did that once. Let me see.
I'm pretty sure just being open yourself
Yeah,
and
like
yeah,
maybe that's okay. Maybe that's also the point. Like I tend to talk like random shit, and like sometimes I don't realize that I said something I shouldn't have said. So maybe that's also why I learned not to offer up too much easily.
Open in yourself, I like. That's good. That's great. But not if you're it not if the open
Oh
in
yeah, actually,
yourself
now that I think
is
of it, once I told somebody that wanted to desperately for some reason like go out with me. We were like chatting for a while, and then I said something that contained the word sex in it somehow. I forget what it was. It was pretty innocent. It wasn't like a I forget what it was. But like she got just completely traumatized by that. Like it was a complete no. Like
the
don't
sentence
mention
wasn't
it.
I exchanged cash for sex last night.
No, it was okay.
uh, life is really short, and the mere fact that you this is my tactic, right? This is my understanding. Life is too short to be wasting time with people. So divulging all that information gets you
Dude.
to cut through all the fucking people who are not
I
worth it.
mean,
You
Dude,
know?
you are right, but it
you're such
depends
a
on
it's so retarded.
the pool of people that you have at your disposal,
Disposal.
right?
But there's
Uh-huh.
plenty of people that you actually would get along with and have great relationships with that can be spooked early on by some pretty mundane shit
Yeah.
that
Well, then too bad for them, right? Look,
no, well,
Well,
but that's
listen.
pretty normal. That's
Okay.
pretty
how many?
normal.
Okay, let me say this. How many people? Okay, maybe because you don't use online dating, Darnell. But
Mhm.
like when I used online dating, like people that I'm really into, that I'm like this person I could see myself with, are just exceedingly rare. Like I see one every like if I intensely use these apps, I see one every month or so,
Mhm.
and most of them don't like me back. So to me, like one promising candidate is just huge stakes for me. And maybe I'm irrational about that, but like it feels huge stakes.
Mm.
Always gonna
Yeah,
be
but
huge stakes, in my opinion, like in a certain way. If it's someone that's worth it, it's always gonna be huge stakes. But
Yeah.
I'm still kind of in the same place as Darnell. Like, I just want to cut through the crap and
Mm-hmm.
see, if you're
I'm
not
down
down
with
with
that
me
too.
as I am now, then you're just not down with me. Like, I don't know.
Do you remember what you told me at one point? It's what made me like you the most, Marilu. Do you remember?
I don't remember. No.
You don't
What did I
remember?
say? No.
Just think. It's
I
the
know.
best line you ever told me, and it made me instantly like you.
Is it the gross thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it?
I said something like, oh, I'm just a little gross, and I've come to accept that as a fact of my person.
And
Something
I,
like that. Because
yeah,
I ate
that's
a cucumber without washing it.
yeah.
yeah.
And I was just like, I don't really care. That's just part of who I am.
I automatically started liking Marilu for that. She's like, I'm a little gross, and she just bit into it, and I was like, yeah. I automatically liked her after that. Like, I kept bringing it back up every once in a while.
I know, you were completely hooked.
I was like,
But it's not that weird of a thing.
It's really not.
Is that
It
that
isn't.
weird of a thing to say?
I mean,
wouldn't be. Are you saying? But I would just wonder. Are you saying like that might be the type of thing that people would be weirded out by?
well, yeah,
Because I think that's an endearing thing to most people.
Yeah, it is endearing, I think, to most guys. Although, I mean, I do understand that most women probably would, or many women might consider that as a risky thing to say.
Mhm.
I think I can empathize that way. But yes, I think in practice, to most guys, that would be endearing.
Yeah, but to me, like at that moment, it was the most honest and just straightforward that she was ever like at that moment, and I was like, I
Sure.
loved it. It was instantaneous. Like, okay, this person I have to keep
But
in
did she
touch
give you
with.
the details of her grossness?
I don't know, Mammy Lou. Did you?
Gross details.
I don't know. I don't think you asked,
No, I didn't ask. I didn't ask.
See, you didn't offer it up.
But
Yeah,
she
I
did.
mean, this is not crucial to a friendship. no.
Exactly.
Just how
Wait a
gross.
minute.
Epic moment. That was epic. Epic moment. We'll never forget it. It's like etched into my mind.
I know.
Oh my god,
So
guys.
funny.
I am. It's an hour after I've finished work. I'm still
my
here.
You're crazy.
You said you
You
were.
need to finish the podcast, and you need to give me all the scoops before we leave.
Do you get
You have to.
overtime?
Pardon?
Do you get overtime? She asked for scoops. I asked if you get overtime.
No. I'm finished work. I already handed over everything. Like,
Oh.
I'm just inside of the office or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna shut off the podcast, and I'll just create like a little ending or whatever. Daniel,
Yes.
my song.